Well, hello and welcome to something a little bit different for this channel. Similar to some other things we've done, but slightly different format. This is the minifigure countdown for Vidiyo for LEGO Legacy Heroes Unboxed. Now, Vidiyo, if you're not aware of it, is a sort of like musical collectible minifigures type of theme. It's not collectible minifigures, but it's very much collectible minifigures, but slightly different with some like musical elements. Has its own app. I tried it. It's not great, but they have excellent minifigures, and I think this would be a great theme to kind of sort of tie into LEGO Legacy Heroes Unboxed. Like it's some kind of like a little bit of the new hotness with LEGO, so maybe they should kind of put some of them into this game. I think some of them would work really well. So this is what I want to do. I want to rank all, I believe, 18 of them that are currently out off of which ones I think would best fit the game or be like the most useful in the game, and kind of which ones also I like more. It's kind of a little bit of a mixture of what I like the most and which ones kind of fit more in the game, because some of them just wouldn't have much like tags in the game, so there's not much cohesion there for sort of team. But I still think lots of these would be kind of cool to see added into the game. It's sort of like use what LEGO is actually producing now to maybe get some newer people into the game. So to start off with, we have number 18, the Red Panda Dancer. Now this Red Panda is actually a part of the samurai, if I'm saying that correct, genre. So they are supposed to be like in there with the samurai, which is interesting considering Red Pandas, if I'm not mistaken, are Chinese, not Japanese. But oh well. For what tags they would get, for lack of a better name, furry, than animal, they would work, I guess, like with Chima and a couple other different things. Maybe give it to Chicken Suit Guy. I know he doesn't have fur, but oh well, just go with it with me. Vidiyo, I think they would probably get their own tag. I also think music could work very well because there's lots of music collectibles like Pop Star and some other ones like that. So I think you could make a whole like music-inspired team without solely using Vidiyo minifigures. For other things, collectible, like he's not a collectible minifigure, but he is a collectible minifigure. They come in blind boxes that you have to buy, and you get one of, I think, 12 different possible minifigures. That feels collectible to me. The other one, I just don't have a better name for it. If somebody can tell me like, oh, it might be a better one, just kind of like an Asian tag. It doesn't really sound right, but none of the other things I came up with sounded right either. Also, I was going to say like Japanese, but I don't think Red Pandas are Japanese. But just something like you could have the different ninjas and samurai and some other things like that on the same team without having to be like all Ninjago or all like the ninja from the castle thing in the 90s. I think it'd be cool to be able to put them kind of all on a team because they're supposed to be kind of somewhat same region or something. Might be kind of cool there, but just let me know your thoughts on that one, because I really would like a little bit more feedback on that. Would be like a good non-offensive sounding name for a tag sort of like that. As for roles, I really kind of think of him as a support or a tank. Why do I think he would be a tank? Well, it talks about in his little bio that he has all this agility and everything else, so maybe he's kind of like a Lloyd, where he kind of just like dodge a bunch and he draws attention to himself. I don't know, he has a like boombox, maybe he plays a bunch of loud music and attracts everybody's attention to himself. Could be kind of interesting. But he's also supposed to be super cute, apparently. Oh, and he's also a natural prankster, so you probably can have a bunch of cool little attacks in there. Also kind of think of him as a support, with probably being using the boombox to like buff or maybe debuff. I think like there's something about him throwing pies or something like that. Maybe the pies do some debuffing to the enemy. Different things like that could be kind of interesting for him. But yeah, he's kind of one of my lesser interesting ones. I don't know, I just don't find him as cool. But I think if we had more animal type people already in the game, they'd have more of a place. But right now there's not really any, either there could be a whole bunch of it in the future. Next up, we have DJ Cheetah. Same sort of vein as the last one. Furry, Vidiyo, music, collectible, for questionable, and also techie. And the only reason I'm saying techie, even though he doesn't feel like he really fits it, he's part of the genre of music called tropical techno. Techie, yeah, there might be a stretch there, but I don't know. You might could add him somewhere into the game with that, but I feel like that is such a kind of stretch there for him to be techie. I don't really have him up higher, even though that would be a useful tag to have in addition in this game, because there's only 6 of them at the time of recording this. But that's kind of what I feel with him. I also kind of feel like he would be an attacker or support. Probably that'll be about speed, because he's a cheetah. So he'd be like very kind of fast, maybe buff some other people. Have him like throw his little vinyl record he's holding, like the Tron disc or something like that, and attack people. Or he kind of plays his records to give people buffs, sort of that kind of thing. And like maybe he buffs speed or whatever, I don't know. He's a cheetah, he goes fast, can he buff other people? Who knows? Something sort of that kind of vein there. Next up we have the Potty Lomba. They are from one of the bigger, I think, beat box set. These are the $20 sets, at least in my area, versus the other one that were $5. He comes a little bit more stuff, but he's just kind of a little bit more of a detailed minifigure. As for his tags, of course, furry, video, music, questionable ones, collectible, and techie. He's also part of the tropical techno genre. I think he's the only other one besides DJ Cheetah. I think he looks a little bit more unique, but still just kind of like didn't really do too much for me. He has, I believe it's supposed to be little like skateboard pieces on his feet and has some maracas. I kind of vision him as like an attacker support, or maybe he does some healing. I don't know. He I don't say bangs his maracas, but that's not exactly right. But I don't know. He just kind of does something with that and heals other figs. Something. I think the thing I would like to see the most for him do is use his rollerblades either on the whole team, maybe like an ultimate, or just on one particular fig for regular attack. But like he rolls around them really quick and they like rotate, try to follow him, they get dizzy. He puts dizzy on them or something like that by just like roller skating around them very quickly. I don't know, that's just kind of one of the more interesting things I can think of with him having roller skates and like being a Potty Lomba. But yeah, I kind of have him here. He'd just be something that might be kind of interesting. I also see him bopping people with his maracas. I don't know, would probably be a fast fig, will at least be able to boost his speed up because of his roller skates, but that's kind of it. Number 15 is Panda Dancer, similar vein to the other furry, video, music, questionable, collectible. She is part of the K-pop genre, which, I don't know, you might give them the kind of like Asian tags. It's like K-pop, like supposed to be kind of like Korean pop, but this is pop or pulp, whatever you want to call it. Pulp, it's just a pun. But her roles, I'd have her be attacker, support, or tank, kind of like the, I think, Red Panda Dancer. I feel like they're like similar veins with the beatbox. They might be a tank, kind of get everybody's like attention. Supposed to have excellent choreography, so she might could use that to kind of like dodge a little bit. I can also see her buffing stuff. But then also with her choreography and outfit, I can see her kind of being an attacker. I don't know, she's like a weird, flexible person and does like, I don't know, gymnastics over to them to hit them. I don't know, front flip assault. Could be interesting. Next up, because we're still in the furry category, we have the Unicorn DJ. 100% tags would be furry, video, music. Questionable would be collectible. Maybe also magical or fantasy. I don't know. Like I feel like unicorns are kind of magical. Fantasy is kind of a tag I would like to have for like some more fantasy creatures to kind of like take them out of just all the castle tag, to kind of move them a little bit separate there. I could also maybe see them being castles, but I feel like unicorns are a little bit more universal than just specifically being a castle. Even though she apparently likes to build castles or something along those lines. She's also from the K-pop genre, which I think is interesting because I wouldn't have thought you'd put a unicorn there, but that is what they are in. Let's see. She also likes to make things, like I said, like costumes and rainbow castles, which could be an interesting tack. I'd rather her, but maybe like she uses her horn to like make a rainbow castle up in the sky and it like drops on her opponents or something. Could be an interesting ultimate. And I kind of see her as an attacker or support. I mean, she just looks a little bit more like she would attack things. I don't know, personally. Just kind of like rainbows and sparkles come out of her, and I could maybe see her being support by like buffing her allies or something like that. I don't know, unicorn magic. But just another one of these, is like another animal person. Okay, now at 13 we're finally moving out of the animal genre with the Samu Rapper. I think that's how you pronounce it. I don't know. It's an interesting combination of names there. Of course, 100% taxing being video and music for questionable collectible. The Asian kind of thing, because he's supposed to be kind of like a samurai. And I still have no idea what that mouthpiece is supposed to be. I don't know. Is that like a harmonica? A breathing apparatus for underwater? I don't know. Also Gamma Army, this would be a stretch, but it is supposed to be a recolor of the Gamadon helmet from I think 2017 or something around that time. I think it really looks that good just being one solid color like that. I think it needs to have like a little bit more detail. But I don't know, you might have a very, very far stretch there to make him be another Gamma Army fig. I don't know, be some interesting backstory to him. PGG, all about that rapping life and stuff like that. He's also part of the samurai rap genre, like the Red Panda Dancer. I think it was Dancer. So he's in that same sort of style, which I feel like this one would make more sense being like a Japanese tag or something to work with like the other heavily Japanese inspired characters. But we have the Red Panda in his squad, which feels weird because it's from China. But for roles, him being either an attacker or a tank, I don't know, Samurai kind of feels like it could be an attacker, although I don't know if I feel it as much from him there. And then I can see him being a tank, because I think of Samurai being like kind of like the armored knight version of like Japan versus medieval Europe. I know he's not exactly that here, but he might be something kind of like that. I don't know, he challenged you to a one-on-one just say grudge match. I'm not good with music, whatever that stuff is called, where they one-on-one each other. But it's also said he is a sensei, which I think would be kind of interesting. Like we have lots of different senseis kind of in our game, but it'd be interesting to have him in there. Don't know if we need a sensei tag, but that could be kind of interesting. But he also wields the mic like a katana, which I think would be kind of interesting. He actually had in his attack animations, he holds his mic like it's a katana, maybe even has like a magical katana take shape over it and he cuts people with it. I don't know, it's just another thing for him being an attacker. Now at number 12 we have the Alien Guitarist. Now this is one that's kind of interesting, but I kind of don't really like all of his design as much. Although I don't normally like the things with one eye. I don't know, one eyeball just kind of bothers me, especially when it's like in the middle of your face. But we have him, he'd be of course video, music, alien, because I mean he is the alien guitarist. Questionable ones, collectible, space. I mean same old thing with space. If it's a collectible but was never actually part of the space theme, should you get the space tag. Although it works out better here because he can still be under the alien tag, so don't really worry about him not kind of working well with some space stuff. We don't have even though we don't have a set that works really with aliens, at least to my knowledge as of yet. That'd be really cool if we actually got an alien space set at some point that worked with aliens, but we don't as of right now. And he is part of the ETDM genre, which I assume is like extraterrestrial dance music or something like that. No, I haven't actually seen that written out, but I'm assuming that's what it's supposed to be. I see him being an attacker, support, or healer. I don't know, he could like shoot mad riffs off of his guitar, he could buff people, maybe he can even kind of heal them with that. I don't know, he is an alien, he has those little antenna things. I don't know, I think it was Mantis from Guardians of the Galaxy 2, something kind of like that, kind of weird. He also apparently, well supposedly, his guitar was forged in a black hole. Which sounds kind of cool. I don't know, give him some cool names there for his attacks there with Black Hole Cheetah or something along that line. He's also from the Andromeda Galaxy, which is, I guess it's an interesting little tidbit there. Nothing you really can do to like work that into some other things, though maybe there are some other like Lego aliens supposed to be from Andromeda Galaxy you might kind of do some fun stuff with there. But yeah, he's just kind of a little bit basic. I mean, he's very interesting in design. You can do a whole bunch of stuff with him, but he isn't my personal favorite out of all the ones they have in this line. At number 11, we have the Cream Saxophone. This is a figure I think just looks great. Just really nice looking. For tags, I have him be video, music, and a new one I'd have called Foodie, which would basically just be kind of all the like living food stuff, maybe like some chefs or some other things like Hot Dog Man would be here. Of course, just Chef would be here, probably Cookbot because he's also like a cook. I don't know, maybe chicken is fried chicken, I don't know. Some different things like that you could, I think, fill out a decent tag with here, and I feel like we have enough like cookers throughout some different Lego themes that you could actually fill this tag out fairly well. For questionables, it'd be collectible and chill. I mean, he is ice cream. That's pretty chill. It can give you a brain freeze, so I don't know, get him chill. He's also an epic sax ice cream, so that'd be kind of cool. As for what roles I see him be, of course, attacker, support, or healer. I don't know, I can see him like bashing people with the saxophone or something like that, maybe even throwing like globs from his head at them. I can see him like debuffing them by throwing globs at them. Maybe it gives them, I don't know, it slows them down or something because they're getting stuffed on ice cream. Or I could also see him maybe even just like giving his allies part of his head, as bad as that sounds, but just like, here, heal off of me, or eat this for buffs, something along those lines. Also just sweet saxophone, he can just play some mad riffs on that and like buff his allies. He's also part of the candy pop genre, which I think is one of the more stacked ones of this first wave of Vidiyo. I'm not sure if we're going to get another wave, might stack some of the other ones out. But right now I think that is the most stacked one with 3 different minifigs as a part of it, so you might even get like a sub-team of that. It just depends how much they actually add into here from some of these different things, but you might could even, that's why I included this on here, you might could make teams around the different genres of music they are in. But next up we have at number 10 the Cotton Candy Cheerleader. This is another one from the candy pop genre. For tags, I think video and music, of course, 100%. And questionable will be collectible and Foodie. And the only reason I have Foodie here is kind of questionable is like she's supposed to look kind of like cotton candy, but she's not cotton candy. Maybe her pom-pom's supposed to be cotton candy, but she's not actually food like the ice cream guy was previously, so I think Foodie might be a little questionable, but because of what genre of music she's in, I feel like she should probably get it, because I feel like a good chance of pom-poms are actually cotton candy, considering that she also plays music with somebody who's a living ice cream cone, plays a saxophone. That would kind of make sense to me. For what roles, I kind of view her just would be support. She just like cheers on the team and gives them buffs. Maybe say something about the other team, give them some debuffs, but I just see her just buffing everybody. She's also supposed to be very acrobatic. She's like a background dancer, so she might be kind of good at being dodgy or something like that, or maybe she kind of gives some other allies dodgy. Might give you some cool buffs like that. I also think it might be kind of cool she gives people like sugar rushes that just like boost the speed for a couple turns, and then like after that gives them speed down or something like that. He gives them a high, then they crash or something. Could be kind of fun, but I think she just has like a really cool design, and I like her colors, so I kind of have her that high for that reason. At number 9 we have the Disco Cowboy, or the Disco Boy, or how you pronounce that. Disco and Cowboy combined into one word. Actually works out pretty well. Really appreciate the pun here, but it is very hard to actually supposed to pronounce that. But this guy, I'd have him, of course, video, music, and probably Western or something along that line, which is not really a tag I think we're going to probably get anytime soon, but I don't know, you might could work on putting him in here with Highwayman, and maybe eventually they can add in the Western theme, or at least some of the more Western style figs from collectibles. Again, there might be some controversy with the old school Western theme, due to cut gear-ish stuff or whatever. But I think it'd be kind of cool to have him in here, because like I feel like Cowboys are kind of a classic Lego theme, and I feel bad them not really being in here, because I kind of have them personally even more up above Pirates as like a classic Lego theme, like space, castle, and Cowboys. But I guess I kind of like the Western more than I do Pirates, so it's kind of just a personal thing. But I think it'd be really cool to have them in here, and this would be a cool way to get him in here. For roles, I view him as attacker or support, because I don't know, he's a cowboy. I don't know, he has a bunch of sequins and some other stuff, all on his like jacket and his pants and all that fun stuff. He's super bright. Maybe he like blinds his enemy. But he also supposed to have like a blinding smile. So maybe he smiles at them and his sequins just light up and he blinds them, gives them clumsy or the confused or whatever like that. Could be kind of fun there. And attack, I don't know, he's just a cowboy. Maybe he just like struts up over to them and hits them, whatever, cowboy-ish stuff. He is the disco boy genre. I kind of don't feel like anybody else would be in this genre besides him, considering he is has the same name as the genre. It's probably just him, but maybe somebody else will be added into it later. Also, his voice can apparently make horses just go hoedown, so I don't know, maybe he just starts singing and his enemies like dance death or something fun like that. I don't know, they get disco and they miss the ton. Could be kind of fun. I don't know. At number 8, we have Werewolf Drummer. Now, this is one I don't really like too much. I kind of like it, although I've gotten him a whole bunch of times from the blind boxes. I kind of wish his drumsticks were a little bit longer so you actually kind of could hit things with them, because they're kind of a little short right now for me personally. But I think he's a very interesting, cool looking one. For tags, he'd be spooky, video, music, questionable ones, collectible, and furry. I don't know, does a werewolf count as a furry? Who knows? Let me know in the comments below. But yeah, I just kind of have him on here because he'd be another one to add into the spooky genre, or the spooky tag, which is pretty stacked right now. I don't know if they need it as much, but he would at least have some teams he could go on to, which I think would actually benefit him, maybe a little bit more than some of the other minifigures on this list, since there's actually a place for him. He's just not on like a tag or team all by himself. As for roles, I view as attacker, I don't know, he's a werewolf drummer, like he would be really good at attacking people. Support, I don't know, he drums, maybe he gives his allies buffs because of that. Or also can see him being a healer, I don't know, he's part of the monster metal genre, maybe he's so metal he can raise the dead, I don't know, he just drums away and like revives his allies. Could be kind of interesting. I don't know, you had to like limit that somehow. Maybe you want to bring them back as zombies or York or just like a basic skeleton, something like that. Make him not too strong. Spooky already has a whole bunch of revived stuff. But I think this could be kind of interesting for like Basil and Willa die. Well, I guess just Willa dies, so it kind of makes Basil a little bit useless. Maybe he can kind of revive them still afterwards. Do some interesting stuff for that. And I think that's kind of... Oh, also one of the little funny thing I thought about his lore was when it's not the full moon, he's just a like basic guy in a jazz band. He's just the drummer in the jazz band because he only becomes the werewolf drummer on the full moon, which I think is kind of interesting there. I don't know if you could really work that into his kit and you have to make a entirely new minifigure for it. But I think that could be kind of interesting if you have somehow just turned into a just like basic jazz band drummer or something. Could be kind of fun there. Just an interesting tidbit about his character. Would be great for his bio. Maybe work that into a story segment with him. At number 7 we have the Punk Pirate, who is, funnily enough, part of the pirate punk genre. A little bit different name there, but basically the same thing. His tags, of course, Buccaneer, because he's a pirate, video, and music. Questionable ones, collectible, and pirates, because he's not actually part of the pirate genre, but luckily the pirates actually have some tags for figs that could be part of them without actually having them to be part of pirate, because he can be a Buccaneer, so he can walk with the Bucks, because there's some things that benefit them by just being a Buccaneer versus being a pirate in general. So I think this one actually works out pretty well here. His roles, of course, would be attacker or support. I don't know, he looks like he would be a good attacker. He has an anchor guitar. I feel like he'd be really good at hitting people with that. I mean, he could also maybe play some tunes and buff some people. Pirates could use a actual buffer and then have some other really good supports, but they don't feel like they don't have like a really good support. Like Redbeard's a support, but he's like an attacker. Bart's a support, but he's a healer. Maybe you can have him be more of a support, plays his guitar and buffs people. He also apparently dyes his hair with Kraken ink, which I think is kind of just an interesting little tidbit about him. I don't know, maybe he works that into his attack somewhere. He throws some Kraken ink at his enemies and blinds them, maybe gives them confused or clumsy or something along those lines. So it could be like a debuffer to the enemy slightly too. And that's kind of really it. I mean, I think it looks pretty cool. So I like everything about him but his hair. That's kind of the only thing that makes me not like this minifigure. Is for whatever reason, I do not like his hairpiece, but I love the rest of him. And I think he would look kind of cool out there on a team with Redbeard, Scarlet, Bart, and I don't know, Argenta. Throw him on there as a 5th minifigure too. Would be a very interesting, very different styled figure for a pirate team. So I think he would do fairly well there. Next up we have the Genie Dancer. Now this is one of those that kind of doesn't really fit on too much of a team right now, but I think she just looks pretty cool anyways. And I really like her accessories. I have currently working the video that involves the actual genies from the collectible minifigures, and I think she's way cooler than most of them. Something like she doesn't actually have like the genie lamp, but I really love her design. For tags, she'd be video, music, of course, obviously questionable ones, collectible, magical, because I mean genies can grant wishes, which is fairly magical. Fantasy, kind of the same thing, is like, I think there's a little bit more of a fantasy type creature, and also mythological, because I would tie like a whole tag for that for some of the creatures that not just like fantasy. They're a little bit in a different category. I believe genies are actually, or well, Digian, I think is actually the real name for them, is I believe part of Arabic mythology, so you might have them there. And the reason I kind of want to have this tag would be, if anybody remembers the collectible minifigures game, they had that mythological world there, which I thought was really cool, and it might be kind of cool to have a tag based around that in this game. So maybe get for that too. So it should be like a mythical creature, but from a different area than just like Rome / Greece area. For her roles would be support or healer. I mean, she has a tambourine. I feel like she just would slap that and gives her allies buffs. Or she'd also maybe heal people, maybe bring them back. I guess she didn't bring back to the dead. That's the genie rule, that she can't grant wishes that bring people back from the dead. But something they do mention in her biography is that she can kind of grant wishes, or she dances so well that she makes others wish they could dance that well too. So it kind of implies, well, I think actually says because genies can grant wishes, obviously. So she might have some sort of wish granting in her kit. I don't know, she buffs her allies, maybe give them a like yellow buff for like wish granted that increases a stat or something. Maybe it's a random stat. Could be kind of interesting. Or maybe each turn, depending on how many yellow stacks it has, it gives them one random buff for a turn, and the more yellow stacks they have, it gives them another random buff, so they can have like attack up, defense up, speed up, crit up, heal over time. That one's not really that good, but something kind of along those lines could be kind of interesting. We'd have to really stop if it gets out of control, but it'd probably be on enough of a cooldown that it wouldn't really be able to get too out of control. But then it could be something kind of a little fun there with her. And then also she's part of the fantasy folk genre, which also why I put fantasy up there as like a questionable one, because I mean, they even call her a fantasy. She's part of the fantasy folk people, so I feel like it kind of fits. But I think she would just be a very interesting one. And I'd love to see how they'd animate her like tail piece there, 'cause I'm sure they would animate that, and I think it would look pretty cool. Just overall, I mean, it's a really nice minifigure. At number 5, we have the Shark Singer. Interesting to know he's actually part of the pirate punk genre, so he's kind of a pirate, which is very interesting. I just wanted to go and point that out before I went through the tag. So I kind of have him on a furry. I know Shark's definitely not a furry, but I don't know, I like the name of that team, that tag there, and I don't know, animal just seems kind of lame. He'd be there with the animals, basically. Oh, sorry, not he, she. That's actually a she. The Shark Singer is a female, so also add another female into the game. I know that was something they talked about at one point, trying to prioritize like a decent split there, so they don't just go all male characters. This would be a female they could add in, and be another one to add into the pirate, I guess, ish faction. That would be kind of a little bit different from it's just a female pirate. But for questionable ones, collectible, Buccaneer, because I'm assuming she's just kind of part of the pirate punk things, because like sharks kind of related to pirates, like they make you walk the plank and the sharks get you, that sort of thing. But I don't know, maybe she's actually supposed to be a Buccaneer. I guess they could decide that. I feel like we should have maybe some pirates that aren't actually either Buccaneer or something else, even though like I feel like Pirate would be very questionable for because he's not actually under the pirate genre, but I feel like Hank could be just like a regular pirate without being a Buccaneer or an Imperial. And also Wet, I just really can't come up with a better name for like anything like the underwater factions. I would have her maybe be under there where she could work with some of them, or maybe even some like above water people like some boaters or whatever. But I just feel like that would be an interesting name for the tag, just being Wet. Shark Singer is Wet. Roles, Attacker. She's a shark. Shark Singer is a shark. She attacks, she bites, she, I guess, sings very hard. I don't know. Apparently she has a very good punk shark voice. Also, she's very hungry, so I feel like she'd be biting people all the time. Just kind of feel like this would be a very interesting character to have. Would be very different than a whole bunch of other things. Just be really cool, and I think her design is overall very nice looking. Now, before we have the Banshee Singer. Now, this is another very interesting one. This is another one of the monster metal genre. Tags, of course, 100% spooky. Yeah, she definitely looks spooky. Video and music. For questionable ones, collectible, magical. I don't know, Banshee kind of feels a little bit magical. I don't know if we need like too many more magical figures. Although having Majestro's Tower set nerfed, so it might not be as crazy, but I don't know if we want to have too many magical figs just for that reason, so I kind of a little bit questionable there. Fantasy, because I don't know, I feel like Banshee's kind of come up with lots of like fantasy games. And mythological, because I believe she's like myth for not Greek, it's like Irish or Scottish, like the Gaelic legend stuff, maybe even German, might be a little bit German, I can't remember. But there's some like mythological stuff there, so it'll be another interesting one to kind of add into like a different mythological team that's not just Greek and Roman. For roles, of course, Attacker. Also, I can see her being a tank because she's apparently ethereal, so like, basically means you can't really touch her, which I feel like could be interesting. Maybe something like Ghost, but I don't know, she gets dodgy or something. I don't know, it might be a little bit too broken because Spooky already has all these like crazy options there. But I think she could work fairly well with that. And of course, she's also like really good at wailing, so I don't know, maybe she does some slowing down of the enemy team. Maybe she just does damage to them. Might be a really good like AoE damager, has some good skills for that. Because I feel like we're nearing the point where I really like having some AoE attacks. It used to be really bad, but I feel like now with all the like walls of buffs and other things and fake deaths and hardy, having some AoE attack is really good. Highly recommend, if you want to know about this, watching my Gamma Army Tower Arena Team videos I have up on my channel, because I think they kind of show off how good some AoE can be right now. But yeah, that's kind of it. I just think she just looks really cool. I'm sure she'd look very good animated. She'd really kind of stand out as a different type of figure. I do believe there is actually a Banshee in collectible minifigures, but I think this one's colors look a lot cooler. I like that kind of like metal hairstyle and all of that. It just looks chef's kiss. Just excellent. Now at number 3 we have the Alien DJ. This is another one of the ETDM genre. This is like the more expensive, I guess, alien video minifigures here. 4 tags, of course, definitely alien. He's alien DJ, should be no problem to give him the alien tag. Video and music, obviously. Question 1's being collectible in space. Duh. Although I'd also felt like maybe including Techie on this list, because he makes me think Techie, but just nothing in his bio really said anything about Techie. He just has a really cool look to me, which is also kind of why he's this high. He just looks really cool. And also aliens could use some love in this game, and I think he just looks cooler than the alien guitarist. Just add him into the game. For roles, I think of him being either attacker or support. I mean, he looks like he could attack. I don't know, like I said with one of the other ones, he could do like the Tron disc throwing with his records, which would be kind of really cool. He also apparently has warp speed technology, and that's one of his beat bits, which is kind of interesting. I don't know, you can work that into the game somehow. I don't know, all about speed boost or something. I think space is supposed to be kind of be all about speed. Maybe he can grant a figure like 100% pep or something crazy like that, let them go instantly and maybe have some of it spill over to next turn. Could be something kind of interesting there, some warp speed stuff going on. And that's kind of why I think of him maybe being like a support too, just like buffing speed, playing stuff on his Alien vinyl record, interesting things like that. Oh, he's also a dance legend, which I just think is interesting. I don't know, maybe having some like dance on people with some of his attacks, some interesting stuff. Actually, you could even maybe have him do like the end of Guardians of the Galaxy 1, where they do like a dance off with the villain. I don't know, maybe have him like reference that in one of his attacks or something. Who knows? But I think he just looks really cool. Aliens attack, like use some more fleshing out. Well, this would be a very interesting way to add in some more Alien minifigures, because they are kind of limited, because it hasn't actually been that many different Alien like themes with Lego, and there hasn't actually been that many collectible minifigures either, so this would be another way to add in something that looks a little bit different from all the other ones. Now, this is the Candy Mermaid. She, of course, is another one of the candy pop genre. She's like the more expensive one from that genre of music. For tags, I kind of feel video, music, foodie. I mean, she has like a little waffle cone and has ice cream. For questionable tags, I feel collectible, wet, and chill. I mean, she's ice cream, so I feel like that's kind of chill. For wet, she's a mermaid, and they actually say in her description she's the underwater queen of pop. So it's not just like, well, she's supposed to be a mermaid, but she's actually an ice cream cone, so she's not actually underwater. So I feel like with her underwater, kind of like your background, she could fit in on the wet team. For roles, I view her as either support or healer. I don't know, she just kind of looks like she would maybe like do some buffing or maybe some healing. I don't know, she can like have her hair blow over to them and they can eat it. She can play some stuff on the guitar to like buff her allies. She can just hit her enemies with her guitar. I kind of feel like an interesting attack animation for her would be like she kind of like goes underground and you see like an ice cream like puddle going over to the enemy. She pops out, whacks them with the guitar, goes back under and comes back over. Kind of like if you've ever seen Genshin Impact, how like Mona moves, where she goes like underwater, under the ground, and you have like some bubbles moving. Something similar to that. I don't know, she just kind of makes me think of that. I just think she'd be a really cool one to have. Would be very cool animated. Maybe even like animate her hair a little bit, have it like trailing off a little bit to the side. Her tail would just be very... She's just a very cool minifigure. She's one of the 2 beatboxes I've gone out of my way to actually purchase. She just looks that cool. I think there's so much you can kind of do for her here. A whole bunch of interesting like underwater mermaid type like references. I don't know, maybe you can reference a little bit Little Mermaid but have it be like ice cream themed. Maybe she has like an underwater castle but it's built out of like ice cream bars or something interesting like that. But she's just another one I think is just really cool. I could see people might actually spend, well man, just say that. If somebody who went all the way to purchase her, even though she's kind of overpriced, just so I don't have to buy her later at an even more overpriced secondhand market, I feel like people might actually go for her. At least if you're actively collecting minifigs. But at number 1, we have the hip hop robot, which I think they also, another name for him was like the breakdancing robot or something along those lines. He's number 1 just cause there's no one went out of my way to actually buy. He just looks really cool. I like his like gold suit, his head looks cool, his robot arms look cool. There's just like lots of cool stuff going on there. And he is part of the robo hip hop genre, which he's the only one in that so far. I hope this one might be expanded upon, because I think some more robot figs would be kind of cool, especially these unique ones like him. For tags, 100% would be techie, video, and music. He's a robot, so I feel like he 100% qualifies for techie just right off the bat. Techie could use a little bit more love because there's only 6 minifigures right there. We have the All-Star event just for that tag, and there's not really like too much variety there. This would add in some more variety there, and questionable, of course, collectible. His role, I think, him would be an attacker or support. I don't know, just off his robot stuff, like he'd be really good at attacking. Maybe hip hop over to you and smacks you with his arms or something. Also, I really like the way he holds his microphone there. Maybe he throws that at you or something. Or maybe he challenges you to break dance. He also maybe can buff his allies with some break dancing. Who knows? I don't know, maybe he break dances so hard he removes debuffs from his allies. Who knows? Oh yeah, he also can beatbox, so maybe he does some beatboxing or something along those lines too for some different things. He also has a fusion-powered dance processor, which I think is kind of interesting. Just so like he has a fusion-powered like computer in his head. I don't know. It just sounds just crazy over the top. I kind of like it. Also, one of his beat mix and turn things into gold, which I just really kind of like that idea. I don't know. He just turns his enemies to gold. Maybe if they don't stick Mr. Gold into the game, he just like, I don't know, shoots a beam at them or something. They just turn to Mr. Gold for a split second. It does damage. Like I think Yeti throws like a snowball at them and they turn into like a little snowman. Something along those lines. Could be like a little interesting reference there. It turns them to gold and damages them. But really, that is it for the collectible type, not collectible minifigure. The video theme, I guess, just the video theme, but it's basically collectible minifigures. But I'd like to hear what your thoughts are. Who would you want to actually have over the other figs in this list? Who do you like more? Would you want more of the animal people? I'm just not as interested in them, and there's just no real teams to stick them on right now, so they just really didn't do anything for me that much. But maybe some of y'all might like them more. Like, I like some of the foodie characters. I really like the, the Candy Mermaid, Waffle Mermaid, whatever her name is. I mean, I just said a couple seconds ago, I already forgot. But yeah, I just love her that much. But yeah, I just kind of like to see, what would y'all want? Would you think any of these minifigures being added to the game would be good? Would maybe just want one? A whole sort of team of Vidiyo minifigures? Would you think that would be a good tie-in? Because that is one thing that's out right now. Also, do you think some of the music, the licensed music from LEGO Legacy Heroes Unboxed should actually make it this way onto the Vidiyo app? The few times I've used it, I don't think I've actually saw any of the music from LEGO Legacy Heroes Unboxed on there, the licensed tracks. So I thought that was kind of interesting because I really like some of the music they have in this game. But yeah, just kind of want to know, what was your thoughts about this? Anybody interested in any of these minifigures? Have anybody actually bought them? Because I know lots of people was like, yeah, these things suck, they're overpriced, but like, people always buy the overpriced stuff because they like them, like me. So, what are we complaining about there? But yeah, with that said, this is Paul Grippy signing off. Goodbye and a wonderful day, and I hope you have enjoyed this little video, and I look forward to hearing from you in the comments below. Bye-bye.